Hey gaming fans! So today's a kind of a tutorial video on how to play Scoundrel with using a standard playing card deck. Now, this game, the reason why I'm talking about this game is because I like TCGs. I like to play trading card games and stuff, build decks. And, you know, sometimes you're just not around your cards and you kind of have that itch. You want to play a game that's, you know, kind of like playing your standard games. Like if you play Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, Pokemon, whatever. So this game, I stumbled upon it. I was looking at some videos on YouTube and I saw some people talking about this game and it's kind of fun. So this is all you need to play the game. Now to set up, the first thing you need to do is take your standard deck. And it could be any standard deck, you know, like if you're on vacation, you get a standard deck pretty much anywhere. These I'm using are Great Wolf Lodge cards, you know, mini little card deck. So you just need that, and you need to remove a certain number of cards. So you got to remove the jokers, which I can talk about later. Maybe, you know, talking about modifying this game a little bit. But yeah, you remove the jokers for the standard game, and then all of the red face cards, including the aces. So all your aces, your jacks, queens, kings, all that has to be removed from the deck. Shuffle up. Now to play this game, you got each card represents something different. So the black cards are your enemies. So all of the enemies, or your bad guys, whatever you want to call them in this game, monsters, they all the black card, the clubs, the spades, have a number at the top, obviously, and that's their power or their attack. So this 7 would do 7 damage if it attacks you. And the face cards obviously go in sequence. So you got the 10 of spades here. Then you'd have 11, 12, 13, and 14. Now, I did see a few people talk about using the ace as, instead of being a 14, making him like a 1 or maybe a 2, you know, a lower card. Depending on your play style, how you want to play it. I would say that this game is pretty customizable. You can pretty much do how you want to play it. But there are some standard rules that most people do play by. So, you know, you kind of make that decision on your own. And for the rest of the cards, we have the diamonds, which is considered a kind of like a weapon, a sword, if you want to say. So this is what you would use to attack your enemies. And then there is the clubs, or not clubs, the hearts, I should say. These are like a potion. These are like to heal you. So you would gain 5 life. So from what I understand, the traditional rules are you got your 20 life. You don't go above 20. You always stay at 20. So if you have, say, 15 life and you play a heart that gives you 10, you're only going to go up 5. So let's start the game, and I'll explain it as we go along because it's a fairly easy game to pick up and play. Quick, easy rules. I am using a spin down, well, kind of like a dice. You can use whatever you want, really, as long as you can track 20 life. You could use, say, another deck of cards. Maybe you could use some matchsticks, toothpicks, whatever you got. Calculator, pen and paper. If you're smart enough to use your head. I would not be able to remember all the time. Anyway, so you would shuffle your deck, put your life counter wherever you want, and you're essentially crawling through a dungeon in this game. So your first turn, you're going to flip over 4 cards. 3, just going to make some room here. And 4. So we got, this is entering a room essentially. And you're faced with well, in this case, I'm faced with 3 enemies that are looking at me right now. I got a 3 damage, 9 damage, and 3 damage. So that's a lot of damage. But I do have a sword. So I'm allowed to equip this sword. We would call this kind of like our equip area. So this is essentially what we're going to use to attack with. Now, you don't need to have a sword. You can just take the damage directly, just like in any TCG, where a card can attack the player directly. So you can absorb all this damage if you want. Now, in order to get to the next room, you have to get down to 1 card in the room. So whether you defeat these 2 and leave him, or whatever, as long as you can get down to 1 card left, and then you replenish the room. Another rule is if you don't like the cards in play, say it's too powerful, or you just don't want to deal with them right now, you can run away. And to run away, you would take all the cards and put them on the bottom of the deck. You don't shuffle. Now again, I would say like you can play around with the rules. You know, this is just a fun game. If you want to shuffle, maybe have like you shuffle and take a damage, something like that. I've played a similar game to this where to essentially mulligan, you would take some damage. So now we got a whole new room. Now another rule is you can't run twice. So if you run from one room, you're faced with this. That's it. You cannot run again until the next turn. Another thing that you can only do in one turn is if you have a heart card, you can gain life only once in that one room. You can't have 2 heart cards and use them in the same time. So anyways, getting on to the attack. So like I said, we could take a direct attack or we could use our weapon. So our weapon is a 7 right now. So if I were to, say, use the king to fight my 7, so the king is 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, I think so. 13. So you'd have to subtract 7 from 13, and the remainder would be the damage you would take. When you do attack with any card and you equip it onto your sword, say I take the 6, in this case it's smaller, I take no damage. However, at this point I cannot use this sword on any other enemy that is above 6, or 6 or above, I should say. So the only card I can now use this sword on would be a 5 or less. Meaning, at this point, if this was all I had, I could not attack. I could not use this on the sword. So I'd have to take the 2 kings, which would be a lot of damage, which would kill me. So you got to think strategic in this game. It's not just whatever the cards flop over, that's how you play. You got to decide on which cards you want to play. Like I said, there are the, let's see if I can find it, the potion cards. So if we had a case like this, you can say take the 10 damage or the 13 damage from the king if you don't want to use your sword, or you can use it. You can use that, only take the 3, then heal, play that. This goes into your discard pile and you heal. Now, once you get to a point where your sword is pretty much used up, say it's like this, you have a bunch of cards under it, and you can't really use it anymore. If you have another sword in play, you can actually trash this one, send it to the discard pile, graveyard, whatever you want to call it in this game, and replace it with a brand new sword. At this point, now we can replenish the room. 2, 3. And keep on playing. So I got a sword here. I can put the 3 enemy there. It's going to cancel it out, so no damage. Then I could replace this sword with another sword. So now I got the 6. And eventually I'm going to have to deal with this 13. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. So I take 7 damage. So I'd use my life token here to go down to 13. 13 life. There you go. And then we would replenish the room. Essentially, you're entering another room in the dungeon, as they would commonly call it. And at this point, I have to use, well, anything less than 13 at this point. So, let's see, I can put the 6 there. Then I can put the 4. And then the 2. So now this weapon is pretty much useless. Unless you're playing with the ace option of making the aces 1. So now this weapon's no more useful. So we're going to just replenish the room. Got a potion card, so I can gain 8 life, which brings me back up to 20. So we have 2 more potions, and I just used a potion, so I can't no longer use these. So we just simply trash them. And then move on to the next one. Now, as I was saying, you can play this any way you want. I think it would be neat if you could find a way to utilize some of the other cards, maybe even the jokers. You can make them spells or something like that. Also, another option I was thinking about was, I've played similar games like this on the computer, where you can maybe have more than one hand. You got your right hand, your left hand, so you can have two swords in play, perhaps a backpack that you can store cards into, like your potion. Have one potion in storage. That type of thing would be kind of fun too. But yeah, this is really just something to have fun with, and it's a solitaire type of game. And like I said, if you're on vacation or you're somewhere where you just don't have your trading card game that you just feel like playing, and you don't want to necessarily just play online all the time, this is kind of fun, and it doesn't require much. A deck of cards and a way to keep track of your life. Anyways, let me know what you think. Throw some comments down below. If you try this game, let me know how it goes for you. And, if you have any suggestions on how to modify the game, maybe even make a two-player version of it with two decks. I don't know. Throw some comments down below. Hope you subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.